ask you, you don't get your hair cut, do you?
He's trying to figure out how to get home. He might DIY it, but he's not willing to let Rochelle touch it.
I'm not. No one's touching it. But I'm like, what are people doing in COVID for haircuts?
Just don't get it cut. Grow it out, mate.
If he gets a mullet, I'm done.
I don't know, but like everyone that I'm turning to, or like even just going to the bottle shop, no one's getting a haircut. Like, I mean, I reckon that's more of a problem than anything else around COVID. Like, far out. Imagine all those people who need to get like their like moustaches waxed and all those waxings. What are those people doing?
Yeah, right. Living like animals, I guess.
I just have to get the clippers and do it yourself. Like, can't be that hard. My dad's done it to himself, and he's not caused any issues.
Yeah, but he's not as cool as me and Nathaniel said.
Got that right. He wears a flannelette shirt and stuff, so he works. He's an ex-Baptist pastor, rides motorbikes, has flannelette shirts. He doesn't fit the mold at all.
Yeah, right.
Like, you look at him and you go, he's not a pastor.
Yeah.
My family's weird. I'm happy to get rid of them for 2 years.
It was too funny. Hey guys, I wanted to thank you so much for coming on. It is the Fireside Chat. It is. We've been launching it every week. Erin and we've got a new edition. I mean, Nathaniel's been in the background for a bit now, and this is like the official reveal in COVID. So I wanted to welcome Nathaniel to the crew.
Cheers, guys. Thanks.
Awesome. And why don't you just tell us a little bit about you? I'm sure you prepared a speech.
Yeah.
No pressure.
First of all, where's the fire? I'm like confused with this whole like fireside chat thing, but thanks. No, but thanks for the intro. Like, I've been helping out behind the scenes here and there with Barty. Bit about myself. Super into coffee. I'm a self-proclaimed coffee nerd. Been in the industry for a bit now. Over in the Bay Area. And then recently moved back to Sydney because of the pandemic, actually, sort of evacuated the States. Worked in coffee at Skittle Lane Coffee for a bit. And then that's on pause right now with the lockdown. And then helping out with Barty right now, consulting some of the like coffee QA. So really cool news today. I heard from Bart. We got the FedCo machine.
Yes.
To streamline the brewed coffee process.
Yeah.
So that's super exciting. We've been waiting for this for a while, but Otherwise, I do some content writing for Barty.
Yeah.
Check out.
And you're going to be like the expert around obviously how to make, not just being, how do you make a pour over? Everyone on the internet knows how to do that. It's really putting the science behind obviously the farm to cup, and we're working really, really hard in the background. It is a top secret initiative. The reason why, obviously, Nathaniel's here, and I'm very, very thankful and pleased for Nathaniel to be able to lean in. But essentially, the premise that we're revealing, and it's obviously we're still testing and researching the products. But essentially, Nathaniel's heritage is from a farm directly connected to Panama and the FST Coffee Company, or Coffee Company. Could you say Coffee Company? It's a farm, right?
Farm coffee. Yeah, producer.
Producer of coffee, and essentially the products that we're about to release in the next very soon couple of weeks will be. One of the highest ranked pointed coffee that's been released currently this year, and it's going to go straight to cup. And what that means essentially, and I don't want to bang on about this, but essentially it is, we'll be able to price up and hand pick that coffee for you directly from farm, and you'll be able to drink directly from farm. No middlemen, no nothing. It's literally we're getting a shipment of coffee. It's coming to the Barty roastery. We will roast it, and then send it out to you in beautiful packaging. That's handmade, and we're going to own that whole piece around, farm to cup, and really all about the fact that everything that we're going to do around that process is obviously sustainable, meaning the way that cherries picked all the way through to the box that you'll receive, everything is going to be handmade with the highest quality. So that's a really, really exciting concept, and we're literally almost bringing that into reality, and that will be available for everyone to purchase as a pre-order in the next couple of weeks. But yeah, I wanted to say Nathaniel's really part of that end-to-end process from the quality assurance, the farm heritage, and obviously can talk to a lot of the science around making all that happen. So yeah, Nathaniel, thank you so much. You're a rock star.
Cool. Yeah, thanks. It's super cool because this is one of the only places in the world that you can really get that farm to cup without the distribution. Like you said, distributed in between. Many other places offer that, and it's pretty special to have that connection with the farm. So I feel like can make something really cool out of this.
And just something to that. I mean, from a business perspective, not a lot of people sell, or cafes don't sell specialty coffee because it's so expensive, both on the farm and obviously to be able to make any money off it. No one wants to buy a $50 cup of coffee because it's ridiculous. Some people do, but it's not for the masses. So with our products that you can buy, there will be a fact sheet, obviously tasting notes and so forth, but part of that would be why it's being priced up. So essentially a P&L in this box that you'll get to go, right, the reason why it costs this much, it's because it's gone through all this for you to have this hand picked made product. So that's really exciting as well. It's going to be a massive disruption. I'm sure we'll get plenty of scrutiny, but fuck it, I'm up for it. And anyway, so back to mental health stuff. What's been going on for you, Erin?
What has been going on for me? I've been doing lots of research into mental health products. So I was looking into crystals this morning.
Crystals?
Yeah, of all things. Because I put out this, as I told you, I put out this thing on Instagram. I said, look, has anyone been told of any products or anything? Like, what have you been told if you've got a mental illness? And one of my friends said, I've been suggested crystals and burning sage. So I looked into both of those.
I've done a burning sage thing before.
Burning sage, it's not good if you're an asthmatic, so you don't. But also, like, the only studies that they've really done have been to do with sage oil and animals. So it's like it might decrease depression and anxiety.
So hang on, you're going a bit weird here for me.
I know, don't worry. I then go back into looking at, like, weighted blanket.
Okay.
So, which I personally use because I'm struggling with mild insomnia at the moment. And, looking at to see, are they worth the $200 price tag?
Oh, wow.
Well, it depends. I got mine as a special buy from Aldi for $60 a year ago.
Crystals or sage?
Crystals are weird, honestly. I have friends who are, like, into that stuff, and I'm like, they're pretty rocks.
You may as well buy some of this as well, and then you'll be, like, right in the scene.
It's a placebo effect, though. This is the thing. Like, I've literally looked into it. I read it, and people are going, there are psychologists going, it's a placebo effect because you feel like you're in control.
Mate, I can't wait for you to release that article. That's going to be a cracker.
I'm looking forward to getting some backlash, to be honest. I'm going to have people go, no, crystals are good, burning sage is good.
So, Erin, why don't you tell me something that's real and serious about what you've been doing?
Well, Monday's article was really interesting, actually, if anyone's read that, to do with the supplement side of stuff.
Yes,
because
totally.
I was really blown away by what I read and what I discovered.
I have to admit, I haven't read it. Can you help me out here?
Sure. So I looked into various supplements that people have suggested for mental health. So looking into one supplement, I cannot pronounce it, but I pretty much went to a supermarket and was like, right, what are the top 3 supplements that I can see for anxiety? and they all had the one active ingredient called, I cannot pronounce it, starts with an A though, and they also had passion flower in. So I looked into those. I then looked into fish oil, into St. John's wort, which is really controversial in that a lot of psychologists and stuff do not recommend it at all, even though it's natural, because it can mess with so many medications. And then I looked into melatonin.
So I guess the point, Erin, you're trying to make is that, and this is what we sort of threw around together, which is really cool in your article, which was, so when you're on a mental health...
No, and they recommend that you don't. So if they say you've got like environmental anxiety or depression, so for example, going through a stressful time at work, you're moving house, someone you know has died or something, you can take them for a small amount of time, but they've done nothing to the long-term side effects.
Right.
Of like St. John's wort especially. And then you've got other stuff like fish oil, which isn't going to hurt, but at the same time, is it worth taking 4 tablets a day when you don't know the amount? And, it's not going to kill you, obviously, but just, make sure that, it's a lot of money. Melatonin was a supplement that I was actually interested in learning about because, as I said before, I was prescribed melatonin by my GP, which you can also buy it online, like it's a supplement. And it's actually, it can help with anxiety to a degree, but they don't know the full impacts. But it can help with sleep, which I can credit to. It works for me. Probably a bit too well because I spend the next day feeling really fuzzy. So I tend not to take it
and
all
just
the time.
something controversial, just to the supplements piece. And this is, I thought it was a really cool concept. A company that I won't mention has an online site. You go in and essentially you fill out a form about your life. For example, one of the questions was, how serious are you about taking, supplements? I personally have always taken a multivitamin because I just believe that the foods that we eat don't give you enough. And from a science perspective, a lot of the foods that we buy from a Coles or a Aldi or a high-end farmer's market, obviously those I could bang on about this for days, but essentially high produce and the produce that we buy has chemicals removed out of it to make it grow. And there's 2 parts of that. Obviously to make it grow faster. So all organic is an issue that some products are genetically have things removed out of them genetically to not be able to reproduce. And so supplements for me have been really, really important, right, in terms of, having the right vitamins and, having them regularly. I think it really helps with obviously being grounded and your well-being. But what I got out of that article that you wrote was that no one knows where it could affect your well-being further if you're on other stuff.
Yeah, and also, you might be taking an antibiotic or something and you don't know if what you're taking will mix in and something. So so you sent me that and I was like, oh, cool, a personalised vitamin subscription. Let me actually fill it out and see. And I looked at the cost and then I actually spent, I think, 20 minutes going onto a pharmacy website and trying to pick up the exact same supplements. And you save yourself $50 if you do it yourself, and you're likely to get higher dosage and better quality vitamins.
Yeah.
Which, if you're paying for convenience, and I totally get it, my mum takes a lot of supplements and she'll count them all at the start of the day.
Yeah.
I get that, it saves you convenience, and you can afford the extra $50, go for it. But otherwise, just...
So normal people are obviously clearly aware that they need certain supplements, right, which is cool, right? And they just don't know what to buy. Some people just take them for thinking they work. Obviously, what I'm hearing from you is there are potentially a placebo effect, but I think what's really key, and I think what you've called out is really, really cool, that you don't know what to take if you're on other stuff. And I guess generally people know, and your GP will say, if you're taking this, don't take that. But I don't think a lot has been disclosed around mental health piece. And I know, and Nathaniel, in America, the healthcare system and everyone makes you take stuff is really how it kind of works in the States.
Yeah, there's a huge culture of prescribing things, like for all different reasons.
Yeah.
I have, definitely I've had a personal experience with that where it's like, oh, you have this, they classify it as a disorder, but is it like really a disorder, or is it just a way of...
You're just trying to sell me something that a pharmacy...
And then and then it's like, you can either like go down this route and take all these medications, which will change your chemistry in this way, and it's like, sometimes it totally depends on you, but like sometimes the side effects might not be worth it.
And let's just like bring it back to like your mental health, right? It's really important that you go for a run or going for a walk. Just getting in the water, like salty water, is more important than taking pills. And I think, that culture of, I know in the States is huge around, if there's something wrong with you, go and take a pill. And it's, to Erin's point as well, it's hard to be able to know whether it might affect your other stuff that's going on.
Yeah, and like with this pill subscription service, they didn't actually ask if you're on any antidepressants. They didn't ask like...
talking to the right person about what might you be going through, and then who would prescribe? Your GP could, but I don't entirely trust it, right?
The naturopaths are they're very holistic, but you can have good naturopaths and you can have bad naturopaths.
Totally.
Not. I think GPs are going to know what will react with your medication, so you could go to them, look, I'm thinking about taking this, would you recommend it?
Yeah.
Or do you think, like as I said before, a lot of them only work for environmental depression. So if you've got a chemical imbalance, you're better off getting a prescription for an antidepressant of some kind.
Yeah, right.
So just talking to your GP, and also...
What kind of questions would you ask, or how would you know whether someone's good or not?
I would ask to look at their qualifications. I'd also do word of mouth, because there are some GPs that actually do have naturopath training, or they are like holistic, so you can actually find some GPs that will be open to different supplements.
Gotcha.
I had a question.
Yeah.
Did you happen to touch anything on caffeine as a substance?
As a substance. So there is 2 posts on Barty. We've got caffeine and mental health, and then we've got caffeine and depression. So looking at that, there is actually antioxidants in depression, not depression, in coffee. I'm so not. I'm sure there's antioxidants. No, that can actually impact. So looking at your article that you today, I was like, actually, this links into what I posted last week. So there's antioxidants that can help with reduce inflammation in the brain, which is really cool. So if you've got depression, if you have anxiety, coffee is not your friend, because it mimics anxiety. So
wow. Cool.
But definitely I will try and link the article into your depression article, into your coffee article, because it's definitely interesting though. I've been enjoying comparing it with mental health, I think because there are so many...
it's a psychoactive substance. Like it directly affects the way you think, which is like
mood enhancer.
Yeah, exactly. I think like my take on it was, if you can manage it in a healthy way, then go for it. Yeah, because it's everywhere. It's a cultural part of a cultural drink. Like it's pretty, that most of the time association with caffeine is pretty positive, but like obviously there's some people who need to hold back. Like if you have mental health conflicts with caffeine, probably don't take as much.
And just to that point, I mean, a bad association. I mean, the bad association that coffee triggers anxiety or other stuff. But I think people need to look at it the other way around. Like, what's going on with you that you're putting something in to make it a spike? Yeah. And I think no one thinks about that. So, good point, Nathaniel.
I definitely think that. And also, having coffee at different times of the morning can be beneficial as well. So they recommend that you have it still with the cortisol in your brain. They reckon that you have it between 9:30 and 10:30 in the morning to get the most benefits and to reduce the stress you'll have.
Oh, interesting. I mean, it is like a morning thing, isn't it? It's a morning ritual. I mean, I was really, really, really excited about making my coffee this morning because I roasted one of the Don Pepes.
Ooh.
How was it,
Oh,
by the way?
I brewed it twice just to make sure that I got it right. I did a 25 gram in, and then I did a 1 to 15 ratio, and then the TDS came out about 1.11% on the TDS, and I did it the second time with a lower in grammage, so I did 17 and I did a 16 ratio, and I tweaked the grind, and then I got 1.273%, which was right on. It was fucking amazing.
It's the natural too, yeah.
It was it was strawberries, apricots, and then the tartness of like lady apples. But this is on our back catalogue. This coffee, only because it's natural. I mean, we buy it for $120 a kilo or something. Like, it's stupid money. And to be able to hand make it. Oh, actually, this is something I can call out before I let you go, Nathaniel. Because this person bought this coffee off our back catalogue, I had to obviously buy it direct specifically, and then I roasted it specifically to taste for this customer. And then I showed them how I was roasting it. So I actually sent them a video of when I was dropping the beans. And then I obviously, part of the profiling we do is every profile's unique. So I've stored that, and then I've sent that profile to the customer. So he was completely aware of the entire process. And he should get that coffee, it only left this morning, should get that coffee perfectly degassed in transit for his cup in the next couple of days. So yeah.
Yeah, I want to try it. Hopefully,
well,
sell out too quick.
I've got some here.
Oh yeah,
it's amazing.
Just
Anyway,
rub it in.
Hey, can I smell? Can I?
Go on.
Thank you. Oh yeah. Apricots.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Anyway, what have you been up to, Nathaniel? What's been going on in your?
I had a couple of delicious. Nice. Yeah, definitely a Gesha. You can see by the length of that.
Yeah.
I had a couple of really good coffees today. I was writing about Geisha recently. The latest or upcoming article is about the etymology of the word Geisha, because it's often spelled in two different ways. So leaned into that, did a deep dive into its Ethiopian heritage, and then also a bit about language and the appropriations we make.
Yeah, for sure, because I know that we spoke about this, right? And obviously we're releasing FST coffee very soon for everyone. And I questioned, because the Panama Geisha, and it'd be really interesting to hear more about the differentiation. Obviously, it's an originated from Ethiopia, but from Panama, the US, there's no I in Geisha. And then in the Don Pepes from South America, Panama as well, they call it Geisha with an I. And it's really weird, like what? And so I then obviously did a Google search on it to work out what was right. There's not a lot there about the differentiation. Like, there's an explanation, but there's no real, what you said, I can't say that word. But what was it? Entomology?
Oh, etymology?
Yeah, that's it, that word.
History of a word, yeah.
The point I'm trying to make is that how do you know what to use? But when I was doing the Google search and then the social search and the hashtags, everything without the I has huge following to coffee. Everything with the I is just obviously a geisha girl. So that was really interesting.
Yeah, it's there's two different meanings with the English spelling with the I, and it's like, why create a homonym from two different cultures that weren't English to start off with, when we could just appropriate it in a different way with the English spelling without the I, because we obviously need a word for this coffee.
Because it's an heirloom coffee. Like, it is like a serious fucking coffee. We're not talking about, just your normal cup. This is...
Yeah. This is, like, it's the most sought after varietal there is, pretty much. So it is, have a look at the article. I'll post it
cool.
shortly. It's just hidden at the moment, but I'll change that soon. But the other word for it is the Japanese female entertainer, and it's like so completely different world, but same word. So it's like, why create that homonym when?
And so, if you had the power of right, and you could wave your wand and go right, what would you make it? What would you do?
Gesha without the I. Pronunciation, that's up to you, I'd say, but like without the I, just to make things easier.
Yeah.
It's also how you spell the region where it's from is Gesha. But that again is an English spelling of an Ethiopian word. So it's like each person from, even in the area, there's a lot of different nations. It's from a place of many different cultures and peoples.
Yeah.
There's different languages spoken there. So it's like, it just depends what language you're speaking.
And I guess when it comes to Geisha, it's a varietal. It's like it's a part of a species, obviously being Arabica, and it's obviously the reason why it's so expensive. In short, it's because it's really hard to grow, keep alive, and then these lots there's only a certain amount of lots of this coffee available, which means that, to be able to get it to market, that is tasting amazing. There's a lot of hard work behind it. That's pretty
really,
much it.
really hard to get to. So it's pretty cool that Barty's sourcing some. There's a lot of geishas out there that aren't the same strain or the same heritage as the one that wins the most awards or is the best tasting. Which is the Panama Gesha.
Yeah, and so the other thing is a lot of people actually don't agree that it actually is one of the best. They think it's great. They don't agree with the price point, and then I know that on YouTube there's a lot of people saying that there's probably better coffees out there. So
Yeah, I mean, when tasting a coffee, try to not think about the price point. Try and think of the coffee for what it is. And I definitely am impartial to Panama Geishas. Obviously, it's got the farm and everything. But it is a bloody delicious coffee. If you haven't had one yet and you ever see it on a menu, I think it's worth just trying it.
And this is a really nice segue, Nathaniel, because we were literally going to get you on our roast along, and the objective was to be able to roast the samples that I've got in the humidity room. I've got 6 samples that we would roast and cup the same day, and then obviously make a... And so lockdown just cut us out, so we haven't been able to do that. No, I can't wait to roast these and cup these. That's going to be a pretty cool day.
No, exactly. At least you've got them in safekeeping right now, and they're green, so they'll last a while. So.
Yeah. And what else have you been up to apart from Geisha?
Been trying to keep sane. Getting the routine. Getting the routine going, sort of keeping my mind healthy by exercising as much as I can. Like we're only supposed to go out every like once a day to exercise, but really built it into my routine.
Yeah.
Actually, I feel like been exercising more than before lockdown because there's more time to do it. So
Yeah.
that's been really good.
I've been really shit this week. I mean, I've been trying to get onto the bike for a cycle, but I've been like, going to bed pretty late. And
That's
I must admit, when lockdown, it's like Groundhog Day. It's literally just, I totally feel you, mate. Like when it comes to like, what day is it? Who knows? And they reckon it's going to extend. Like we're going to get extended. No worries.
Yeah. So just you got to get your vaccines if you can. That's what probably the most exciting thing on my calendar is that second dose coming up.
So that we can do the roast along finally.
Exactly. Yeah.
There's two questions I had. So it was obviously you're writing a couple of articles. We did one on water. Sorry, you did one on water, which is amazing, and that's going to add value to the super luxe box of FST that we're going to release, and that's going to come. That's top secret. So water, and then you've done a piece on coffee is magic. That was awesome. That was one of my favorite articles thus far because it is magic. What else you got going? What else you cooking up?
There's also like I think the coffee is magic one was like, do you need that coffee right now? Sort of had to do with like caffeine and controlling it and a healthy way to include it in your lifestyle. It's a sort of an advocate piece for healthy caffeine management. And then I've got a piece on terra coming up. So talking about how the environment the coffee grows in influences flavor.
Yeah.
And it's pretty cool because it's a word that
gets thrown around, doesn't it? It's so wanky. Such a wanky thing to talk about.
Yeah.
Look at the terroir, but no one gets it.
Isn't terra for earth? Isn't no like it's terra's the term?
It's a French word for like it was invented I think for wine first and foremost. So it comes from that, but it can do with any crop. So you can have like terroir for tomatoes or terroir for like anything.
And so, I mean, being a foodie and all, and you're a coffee person. I'm more of a food person because I love to cook, and I've always, foodie perspective. Terroir is this wanky word that everyone obviously connotates. So if you're a wine person and start talking terroir, everyone switches off because they're like, oh fuck, what am I getting? Like, whatever, right? But what people don't understand, this is what fascinates me about coffee, I suppose, and the whole, obviously, how you grow coffee is really all about the environment that thing is in, whether it's a tomato or coffee or food or a cow. Japan's got one of the best, meats out there, being pure Wagyu. So people need to understand it's the same thing with the coffee, right? So, it's the environment this thing is growing in. It's so important. Like, this coffee tastes like the Peruvian coffee that we did for Erin, which is fully decaf. The reason why it tastes like chocolate is because Peru makes the best chocolate ever because they grow so much of the chocolate out there. So why wouldn't a coffee be infused but when it gets grown, right? Maybe I'm wrong.
I don't know the science behind exactly that coffee, but it could be if they're growing the crops next to each other, but I think it's it gets pretty
technical.
Pretty technical and talking about like the like soil compositions and the minerals involved, like if you're growing in a volcanic area versus I don't know, a flatter area. Like, I think Peru, yeah, they've got a lot of mountains there. The coffees that are grown there usually at high altitude, so they've probably got healthy soils. But I don't know Peruvian coffees.
So I need to ask you a question because I've not been entirely sure about this. So can you tell me, with your expert opinion, my view is the higher the altitude, less caffeine. The lower the altitude, the more caffeine, because the grapes get obviously more of the water versus obviously high altitude. Do you know about this?
I haven't read anything on that, but I wouldn't say that's true because it totally depends on the plant itself. Different varietals or like subspecies of Arabica will grow differently depending on where they are. Like there could be one that has more caffeine in it already without depending on the altitude, and then it does at like a low altitude. So I think it would totally depend on the plant itself, and then again there can be mutations. So it's pretty. I'm not sure of that.
So, okay, back to, I guess, terroir. Terroir plays a massive part to what you're growing and how you're growing it, what's in the environment around it, weathering, so forth, is essentially what you're tasting in a cup. It could be connotated like pretty wanky, but it's true. Like the terroir affects what you're drinking.
Yeah, it does in the end. And it's even like it's easier to see it in flavor because that's at the end of the day you're consuming the coffee. But when you're growing the coffee, it's a whole different story, and it makes such a bigger impact because it's the livelihood of your product that you're growing. It can be the make or break for the whole crop, like succeeding or not. Like it can be the livelihood of your crop if you're a farmer. So like not looking at the consumer's end, this is the person growing it. Terra is super important because there's a tree that coffee grows really well next to. It could make it produce a lot more fruit just because of the
Thanks for coming on today. It's been awesome, and we'll see you real soon. Well, not really see you soon, but see you again. You know what I mean. Go COVID.
Walking on fire.
Thanks, bye.
Trying not to let my feet. I'm tired of fighting. Saying things we don't mean. You know I don't like it. When you're packing your bag and turning your back, calling me a liar. Calling me a liar. Trying not to let my feelings get to me. Sometimes I can't let them go. So now I got these voices. Now I got these voices in my head, baby. I can focus. Feels like I've been